do me a favor, search Chile, like the country, um, the fuel cell deposit, the fuel, sorry, the battery cell deposit, something like that. It's gonna blow your mind. It's out in the field, and just uh, I read it like an article a couple. There is a full open area in Chile that shows um, lithium. There we go.
Electric vehicles are driving demand. What are these? What are these?
Yeah, this is where they have the lithium for. It's a
What?
mining. It's a mining area. Look at that. So tell
Wow.
me something. Is that
What?
good for the land?
No, not at all.
Lithium sitting in that place, and especially the smell and sitting on it, because it has to have a certain.
Wow.
Look at that.
Yeah,
So
that doesn't look so friendly. These guys are in coveralls, right? They're not
so
in
I
shorts,
I
right?
I know. I want you
Yeah.
guys to imagine something right now. Think about 90% of the car sales are electric. How much do we need out of this thing here to continue building batteries?
Wow. Yeah, you'd need a
Think
lot of.
think about that. Also, think about this. Take my apartment building. We are, I don't know, what, 400 units here? 300 units?
Yeah,
Imagine if 300 units, let's just be conservative and say 200 units will
yeah,
have an electric car per unit.
yeah.
Will the transformers and all these electric cables that are connected to this up to the powerhouse be able to sustain all these vehicles charging at the same time?
Absolutely not. Yeah, no way. It's either that or your AC, right? So choose wisely.
Sleep in the car and get your AC on, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's this is the other thing that people like Elon Musk think 200 years from now, and he's right. So to think about that, like to change the world, but at the same time, in our lifetime, I highly doubt it. We will see 90% electric car sales. I'm very realistic in this that I highly see because you got to change so much.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. The average turnover time. So Sam buys a new car.
Correct.
The
Yeah.
chances are very, very good. In 4 years, Sam is buying his next car. Like so that's the thing with electric cars. Everybody always talks about the fact that the charge, you'll save so much money. Sam doesn't care how much money. Like that's great that he's going to save money over the course of those 4 years, but he's still going to buy a new car anyways, right? That's the thing that if you get it, like us as a dealership, if we get a 10-year-old car, and let's
Yeah.
just let's just talk about putting let's say 20,000 kilometers a year. Let's even say 10 to 15-year-old car, like it's still over 2000. Like that's a 2005. You don't really think that's an old car. But if you were to drive a 2005-year-old car to the dealership right now with 300,000 kilometers on it, you would be given $250. Like it's
Yeah.
scrap, right?
Literally, it's so true. You are absolutely right. I had a scenario with a good friend of mine that had I believe it was a Toyota Prius, and he got it for his daughter, and the battery died completely. They had to go back to the Toyota dealership in Kitchener, and they offered him $3,000. And they said, "How much will it be to set up to put a new battery?" They said about, I think with work was about $3,000, $4,000 or something.
Exactly.
I'm not, don't quote me on it, but I do remember he's saying somewhere roughly that. And he's like, "I'm never buying an electric car because the battery
Yeah.
just went."
Yeah.
They're great in countries like Europe. I'll tell you why. In Europe, they pay because they have emission standards and they pay based on the size of the engine.
Gotcha.
In North America, we don't have that law yet. People are enticed with electric cars because they're going to pay so little when you charge it. But don't forget, this is important, and people forget about this. The government, if the gasoline is not getting them taxes, they're going to figure out another way to charge you more taxes, and you're going to end up paying the same. If you're buying the electric car just to save money in petrol or in some rebates, in the long run, the government is going to switch. They will charge you the same amount of percentage
that's
they charge per
that's true.
liter.
It's going to come back. They're not going to be any
They
cheaper, right? If
always
the government's not making money off gas.
they're going to find a reason because they will say, guess what? We need to build more power units. We need to build more. What do you call it in Oshawa for the nuclear centers
Yeah.
to provide more energy. And what they're going to do with that is that they're like, okay, so we have to increase the tax. So now, if you're paying $60 for your electricity every month for your house, you're going to pay triple, double that because now you're charging your car, and they're going to tax you on that because they need to tax you. That's the goal, right? And then you end up paying $60 for electric charging, and it will be the same as doing for a petrol. So that mentality should never be used in this case. If you're thinking that in the long run it's good because you're going to save money in electric in charging your car because it's
Yeah.
cheaper, that's never going to work. They're going to change. I think in countries like Europe it's important, but they don't drive as much, so they don't care. A perfect scenario was my sister's sorry, my wife's aunt. She just bought a BMW, and we were talking about. I said, why didn't you buy an electric car? It's cheaper. She's like, I don't drive that much.
Yeah.
Literally, that's she said to me. She's like, I actually don't drive that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to her, it didn't make any sense to buy an electric car.
Yeah.
Right.
That's so interesting that it's different over there. Yeah, here it's like I think the whole thing in North America, like I guess at least in Ontario, it's just a scarcity idea. If you were to ask Christian though, he makes a good point. Like at this point, and this is what we're seeing now, most hybrids or electrics are almost on par with the price of their gas counterpart, right? So
Almost.
almost, but doing the calculation of the tax lease gas and fuel savings, it's about 2.5 years and you pay it off. So if you're doing a 4 or 5 year lease, yeah, it makes a lot of sense, right? It's just a matter of being able to get your hands on one. But wow, yeah.
It just with electric cars at this point is becoming all about Tesla. It's not about anymore. People every time they think about electric vehicles, they all think about uh,
Well,
Tesla.
Sam, you made that point earlier in the conversation, though, because Tesla stayed true to electric car only,
Yes.
right? So when you make that much noise in the market that this is what you do, then yeah, that's the first thing you're going to think of, right? When you're
Yeah.
saying about right when you're saying only out of 10 cars in your lineup and you only make one electric,
Yeah.
this you're not